I'm Scott Wolfram of the Traveler's Well, and I'm an evolutionary astrologer specializing in astrology of location. Today, what I'd like to talk about is the process of evaluating a location. This is the process that my clients go through when we've had a reading and they're now wondering which of the various locations would be best for them. This is such an important topic that what I'd like to do is, and it's not an easy topic, so what I'd really like to do is to try to organize in a way so that we're going to talk about locations and put them into one of 4 quadrants. So, what is astrology of location? Astrology of location maps the energies from your birth chart around the globe. These maps create a network of energy that is unique to you and represents that are good for you during your entire lifetime. The goal here is for astrology of location to identify your most supportive locations. After identifying your most supportive locations, now it becomes time to start checking out those different locations. And to do this, there are 2 kinds of energies to explore. First, the astrological energies, and second, the preferences for the community that we have. So first, let's look at the energies associated with astrology of location. When we think about the energy associated with astrology of location, the quality of these energies will fit into a number of broad categories that will be reflected in the various locations. When we think of these, some of them will be how we feel physically each day in the location, our health, our radiance, vitality, the degree of strength that we have, how comfortable and secure we feel in our home and in our community, how easily we relate and our ability to communicate, to be heard, to develop partnerships, friendships, romantic relationships, and the daily encounters we have day to day. And then finally, the amount of success we have and the way that we are accepted, our career success and our ability to earn an income and to, in a sense, have success in life. So, when we think of these kinds of categories, here are some examples of what people say to us and say to me when I'm having a consultation. And they're living at their current location and they would say, I'm unable to form lasting relationships. I have difficulty keeping my job. I feel somewhat invisible. I feel like people don't hear me. They don't understand me. They don't get me. I'm unable to make decisions clearly. I'm really not sure what my direction is in life. Others will say, I feel like my work is stalled and I'm really not getting anywhere. Or people will say, and this is really a great one, they'll say, I'm really looking for that location that will help me to take my career and my life and my soul's journey to the next level. All of these statements are connected to the kinds of energies that we will experience in various locations based on their astrology of location. So, in a sense, the astrology of location will impact positively or negatively one or all of these types of goals. Now let's explore preferences, which is really the next step in evaluating a location. And in general, the preferences that we have for locations will fall into a couple of broad categories. Climate, things like 4 seasons, a Mediterranean climate, a place that doesn't have a winter, or a place that has lovely changes in the seasons. Geography, does the location have mountains, lakes, oceans, deserts? Socioeconomic opportunities, like jobs, the prosperity that's in a location, the tax structures, the attitudes of citizens, progressive versus conservative, spiritual places. What is the demographics like? Is there a large population or a small population? Is it diverse or is it relatively monocultured? And then culture, music, arts, food, dining, sports, the possible activities. So these are The broad categories, when I chat with an individual in a consultation, these are the kinds of things that I often hear related to their preferences for locations. I like a place with plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, and no cold winters. Oh, it's way too humid here. And sometimes it's too rainy, sometimes it's too cold, sometimes it's too hot. I want to live someplace with 4 seasons. Or I need to live by an ocean or by the mountains. There's no culture here. They don't have theater, they don't have opera, they don't have ballet or museums. Sometimes I want to live in a place that's reasonably progressive. I'll also hear, and this is really, I hear this a lot, I'm looking for a place that has great organic food, yoga classes, alternative medicine, Ayurveda. People will also say, I want to live near a major airport. I want to be able to travel. Others will say, it's too expensive to live here. I'd really love to instead live in a place maybe where there's no state taxes. Well, everybody, each of us will resonate with one or more of these statements. The key, though, is that none of these statements are really particularly related to the astrological energies of any location. To make the statement, I don't belong here because it's too humid and there's too much traffic, really is not a statement about the astrology of location, but really it's rather a statement that it's your preference to live in a place that's not so humid and that's not so congested. Now, while some of these themes are maybe connected to aspects of our birth chart, these are important. They literally feed our soul. If we need to be by water, need to be by the mountains, or one of these things, they're really important to us. For example, when someone has a chart that's ruled by the moon or has a lot of Virgo in their chart, they're likely to be very sensitive to noise, sensitive to pollution, sensitive to their environment in general. Meaning these preferences can be really important for us, and they definitely need to be one of the items that we take into consideration when we make a decision about location. So let's move forward now and bring these two aspects together. At any given location, there are going to be 2 different qualities that you're going to experience. First, you're going to have the culture that's on the ground. These are the elements that we just discussed. The geography, the climate, the demographics. These are the things that when you come, they meet you on the ground. We respond to that physically because it's there in the external world. But the key is that it's external to us, meaning we respond to it, but we don't define it. We exist within this energy, the energy of the culture. So the culture on the ground is determined by the external reality of the city, the climate that is in the area. Second, we have the astrological energies that are based on our personal birth chart. These are the energies that we, in a sense, follow from our birth chart, and we experience them in a location. They sit alongside the culture that's on the ground, but while the culture on the ground is there for everybody, the energies in the birth chart and that are there for you at a given location are uniquely yours. So there are these 2 distinctly different energies that we need to take into account when we're deciding between various locations. So let's explore this a little further. When we bring the concept of locational preferences and locational energies together, any location is going to fall into one of 4 quadrants. As we look across the top, quadrants 1 and 2 have supportive astrological energies, while along the bottom, quadrants 3 and 4 have challenging astrological energies. From the left coming down, quadrants 1 and 3 represent communities with the culture on the ground qualities that you like, while on the right side, quadrants 2 and 4 represent the energies of communities that have qualities that you dislike. So let's think about these 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, clearly this is the kind of place that we would like to find, where we're supported astrologically by our locational energies, and where on many levels we resonate with the community in which we will live. This is the kind of a location that says that, assuming we're on track with our journey in life and we're living on purpose, this is where we find fulfillment and success in really wonderful ways. In opposition to that, quadrant 4, simply put, this is the place where we should avoid. We're not going to enjoy the quality of life at a location like this. When the astrological energies aren't good and you dislike the community, this is the kind of location where life is not going to ease and you're not going to have success. Now, quadrants 2 and 3 are a little bit mixed, and these are the quadrants that many people actually find themselves in. Some aspects of life are good, while others aspects of life really don't feel quite right. We'll have our ups and downs at locations like this. In quadrant 2, we're likely to have more external success in our career and so on, but we don't like the community that we live in. Alternatively, in quadrant 3, we like the quality of the environment we live in, but we're not having the kind of success that we like. So when we think about this, when I'm recommending locations to people, it would be natural that I'm recommending the areas where the astrological energies are good. This ends up being quadrants 1 and quadrant 2, where the individual's role comes in. Your role, so shall we say, is for you to say, now where do I like the culture on the ground? Where am I drawn to the culture, the geography, and the climate? And this really brings in the role of trade-offs. Sometimes the places where our most supportive astrological energies aren't in spots that we particularly are drawn to culturally. And so we have to make a trade-off and say, how important is it for me to live where my preferences are easy to find? And so there's a trade-off back and forth between these in this clause. And again, this is the role that the individual has, that you will have. And the goal is always to find the best balance between having great astrological energy and a culture on the ground that you feel comfortable with and that you'll enjoy living in those locations. So, as we try to pull things together and sum things up, when we're thinking about where we're going to live, it can feel complicated sometimes because we're trying to balance the astrological energies with the culture that's on the ground. What's really most important when I chat with 300-400 people a year about where they want to live, what happens over and over again is when people are living at good astrological energies and feel comfortable in the culture on the ground, in the location. This is where they become happy. This is when they settle down. This is when they achieve their goals. What's important is for us to go through the process of recognizing that it's my job to tell you where the energies are good. It's your job to figure out which are the most important elements for you, and then for us together to work through to create the balance between great astrological energies and great culture on the ground. When you find that, that's where you belong, and that's where life will be wonderful. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks.